This morning, I'll be reading Romans 12, 1 and 2. It is the Good News Bible, if you would like to follow. It's a 2-verse reading, but it is packed full. Let's listen to what Paul tells the Roman people. So then, my friends, because of God's great mercy to us, I appeal to you. Offer yourselves as a living sacrifice to God, dedicated to His service and pleasing to Him. This is the true worship that you should offer. Do not conform yourselves to the standards of this world, but let God transform you inwardly by a complete change of your mind. Then you will be able to know the will of God, what is good, what is pleasing to Him, and what is perfect in His sight. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. And at this time, I would invite our vets who are present here this morning, if you are able to come forward. If you are not able, which is fine, and we get that, would you simply rise where you are so that we can remember to you, to your God, and to your service, and the congregation would love nothing more than to honor you this day. Come on down. There we go. Couldn't do it without you, Jack. I see you coming, bro. Merv, come on down. Yeah. Chris, was Carl a vet? Yes, he was. We will add him. And here comes Jimmy. Wow. That's amazing.
Today we honor our veterans, worthy men and women who gave their best when they were called upon to serve and protect our country. Here are our TAPC veterans.
And we're going to start with Carl Hebner, Robert Anderson,
Bill Arn,
John Brumler,
James Carruthers,
Ed Davis,
Ken Douglas,
W. Stewart Hamill,
Jack Locke,
Richard Little,
James Menard,
Ken Murphy,
Frank Stewart,
and all of those who we have, and Jim Menard, and Merv Darnell. He changed the place in line. One more. And we do remember Mike Hollenbeck, absolutely. And that is one we recognize. The difference between Memorial Day it's a good reminder to all of us, Sandy. Thank you for that. Memorial Day is when we remember those who have passed and gone before us. And it is on Veterans Day we recognize those who are still with us that have served our country. Did we miss anybody else? Please let us know. And she's saying take a picture. Does somebody have, I'm sure somebody has a cell phone here. Marjorie has it. Yeah, this is pretty awesome right there, Merv. It looks so good to have you up there, brother. Yeah. Okay, you gotta get a little more friendlier. We're not in combat here. Wow. Let's give them a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my gosh. We thank you from not just your church, but from the entire community for serving with honor both your God and our country. Thank you, gentlemen. Yes. That's lovely. If you haven't gathered, we are going to attempt in the month of November, which is this is the Sunday, first Sunday, throughout the whole month. And as Christy mentioned to you, that Advent comes a little earlier this year, and so the first Sunday of Advent will be on the 27th of November. And then we are into the 4 weeks of preparing for our celebration of the birth of Jesus Christ. So we have decided to do a theme that will be pervasive throughout all of the time up until Christmas Eve. Many Christian sites, devotionals that you might find, and even your like-minded colleagues tell us that what we need more of us right now, today especially, is not just thankfulness, but an attitude of gratitude. Not just saying thank you to the wait staff who will serve you a meal, perhaps today, but that's a good start. Or even when someone notices that you've done something for them around the house, you know, like chores, that's also a good start to work on that attitude of gratitude. And not an attitude, come on you guys, you know it, of expectation. Yeah. Oh, I just figured you'd do it. Okay, right? But truly, if we are going to work on not the gratitude part so much this morning, but the attitude part that was given to you by God. Over the next few weeks, we'll be taking a deeper look into our attitudes about being a grateful people. We started this morning with remembering the first step in transforming attitudes. And what might that be? This morning, it's simply about remembering. And we honored our veterans. We didn't just assume that they understand our gratitude or our gratefulness. We understand, and it's why we remember the fact that it's not about us. When we remember with grateful hearts, we remember what others have done for us. We've remembered those veterans because they served so that you and I could freely come to this place at this time to worship this morning. Not in hiding or in a bombed out basement in Ukraine, where we know that at this very time there are hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of Ukrainians that are having a worship service to their Christian God, whom they believe in an Orthodox way is their Savior of the world. Remember and be grateful. When self takes over, remember to be grateful for what you have. When self takes over, remember this beautiful church was given to you through the work of so many hands before us, so that you and I could come into this house of worship and say, oh my, what a beautiful place to worship God. There have been those before us who have stepped up because of others like you and me stepping up because they are blessed by God and they know it. Now there's the Christian twist. We can be grateful. We can start to form again, or to form for the first time perhaps, an attitude, a way of thinking that is inherent in your being. Now that's profound. We're not just saying, remembering to thank the grandkids for the tie that they've given you for the last 4 years, only in different colors. That's not the point, is it? It's developing and showing them that you have an attitude that is eternally grateful. And how does that display? In your being. Because otherwise, when the waitress or the waiter puts the plate of food in front of you in the restaurant and you say, it's not cooked enough, I'd like to see the attitude of gratitude first. You get the point. My friends, those are just tiny parts of how we can develop, practice an attitude of gratefulness, to remember and remember what others have done for you. The what they have done is oftentimes really important too. Often it involves sacrifice. Our vets demonstrated that this morning, whether they were in hand-to-hand combat, whether they were organizing schedules to move troops, whether they were stateside doing their job. They were not with their family. They were not eating Sunday meals. They were sacrificing. So yes, I would say that those folks that stood in that wonderful line here this morning can tell you, no matter where they served, what sacrifice was. And for that, the people said, exactly. Wait, there's one more thing. They gave up their right to be safe at all costs, and many put themselves in harm's way for you and I, for others. Wait, does that sound familiar? They sacrificed themselves and their time for others. You and I, really. Remember someone who did that specifically for you? I'm sure you do. Remember Jesus? He gave up all of those earthly comforts so that we could be here this morning too. To have a grateful attitude, we need to first remember what we're grateful for. And I don't know about you, but I know that I don't include all of the things perhaps I should in the morning when I wake up. Maybe sometimes during the week I will stop and remember something that I should have said, that I would have helped someone else know that I appreciate and am humbled and grateful for what they have done to get me here or there or to help me this way. But this month, I'd like to encourage us to do better. Not just once a year time events, right? Not just once a year celebrating and being grateful that your God sent his son for you. Not just the annual thing, but the daily thing, right? Because the more daily things you do, the better you'll get at living a grateful life. And isn't that, this is a tough one, the only thing we really need to do in this life? Isn't that what God created you for? To be grateful and show gratefulness to those who have helped you, so that you in turn can do a joyful giving to someone else. Perhaps those that you don't even know. You have seen the role models stand up here this morning. They did it in a very formal way. And guess what? Jack, can I ask how old you are? 85. Yeah. Stuart, I'm not asking. Mr. Davis, I probably won't ask you either. Yes, I would. I'm going to say, share with us, son. Say that again. 77. Spring chicken, Jack. Step it up. You get the point, don't you? We all get the point. And we do our best to honor you guys. And we do our best to honor each other. Or at least we should. And so during this time, we will be looking at other ingredients besides remembering. But this morning, I remind you that remembering is the first step, because everything you do leads back to the greatest sacrifice of all, and that's Jesus Christ. If you have your bulletin, on the back of the giving, the closet, Alpena Closet Homeless Project, turn the page over. We're saving trees here these days, which we should. I would like you to look with me, and we will do this for the next few weeks, of things that you might not consider, not because you aren't, but just because it doesn't come into your field of vision or focus, of things that your God has provided for you in a way that you should start making an attitude of gratitude for or about. Number one, somebody that if you were asked on the street, or you were asked as you were driving your car, or somebody came up to you and said, who are you grateful for? An answer would come out of your mouth. And I'm sure that one is not very hard, right? How about some place you are grateful for? And that's not hard either, is it? That's pretty self-explanatory. Now it gets a little picky. It gets individual. A food that you really love. Have you ever thought about that? I bet you the guys that served could say it's not K-rations, you know? Not those tin cans that are 5 years old. Stu is doing the nod on that one. Say that again? 3 hots and a cot. 3 hots and a cot.
3 meals and a place to rack out.
3. I'm grateful for you, Ed Davis. 3 hots and a cot. I love it. Anybody know that phrase? Oh, yeah. Look at them all. Carl's in on this one. All right. How about this? A favorite color. How about this? I bet you this one will come right to you. How many, you don't have to tell me, how many remember a teacher who impacted you and you've got it on their lips? Raise your hands. Look at that. Do you see? And I'm just saying to you, that's the people-to-people connection. Those other things are things. We now get to people who have impacted you that you are grateful for. How about a trip you loved? How many Holy Land people? I'm going to be sad because I haven't been there. Anybody been to Israel, Holy Land? Oh, there we go. Yeah. A role model that inspired you. My guess, my guess is that you have more than one sometimes. And again, we're back to people. Okay, we should know this from potlucks, but a dessert you can't get enough of. Ice cream. Good job, Paul. Yep. And the last one to be grateful for is a person that you know you can lean on. And I think the list gets a little smaller there, doesn't it? Because that's a trust issue as well. But we all have that person that would be the first call, right? When something amazing happens and when somebody can help you when you need to lean a little more than usual on. I invite you to take that list, my friends, this week and make it a little mini journal and write some things down so that you don't forget, but you'll remember all of those things. Because everything on that list was given to you by your gracious and loving God. And the people said, Amen. At this time, we will have, Christy's coming. All right. At this time, we will receive our offerings. And I'll remind you okay. And next week, we are going to we're trying to phase back in the total offertory process here. And we will be bringing the treasure chest forward. And so if you remember, if you could pop your offering in the treasure chest when you come in, then we will be able to receive that for the offertory, which is what keeps our lights and our heat and everything else that you also are struggling with these days on here in the building for you. And Christy?
1 Peter 4, 9 and 10. Offer hospitality to anyone without grumbling. Each one of you should do whatever gift you have received to serve others, as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms.